Hi, I'm Gary Moody, professor of bassoon at Colorado State University. In this video, I would like to discuss some ways to prepare for the Colorado All-State Band Audition for 2018, specifically the etude on page 40, number 28. This etude was originally number 16 in Jeancourt's Method for Bassoon from 1845. I will be discussing some phrasing aspects and ways to make the repeated notes more interesting, as well as the trill. One of the first tasks I do when looking at a piece is to determine where the phrases break so that I will know when to breathe and phrase. Phrases in poetry are easy to see on the page as a new phrase is printed on a new line. If we printed music with this same poetic spacing, it would be easier to see and express the phrases. Here is a copy of the etude with the phrases broken into separate lines. The first 8 bars create a structure known as a sentence, the first 4 bars of which are known as the presentation, the second 4 bars as the continuation. The 4 bars of the presentation have two 2-bar sections, a basic idea, then a repeat or rhyme of that basic idea. Use your understanding of the form to help plan the breaths. I will separate the basic idea in the presentation with at least a space, if not a breath. I will also separate the presentation from the continuation with a breath. For the last 8 bars, I would usually divide this into 2-bar phrases, with the A sharp being a pickup to the second of these phrases. But the written slur connecting the A and the A sharp show that there is no break here. While I might breathe after the A sharp, that note would leave a big to be continued phrase at the end, which one might prefer. The A sharp also serves as a chromatic passing tone that connects the A to the B in bar 13, so I chose instead to slip in a breath in bar 11, with a breath in parentheses at least a matching break, if not an actual breath, then match this in bars 7 and 15. Taper the end of phrases, holding out the note until the rest. There are often alternatives to phrases, and here is a copy with another option. However, for the purpose of auditioning, I think it is safe to demonstrate that you can follow instructions even if you may disagree with them. When we speak, we phrase all the time. It helps carry extra meaning. Certain syllables of multisyllabic words are stressed, and certain words within a sentence are also stressed. For instance, the sentence, "Pick up the big red ball." If I stress big, pick up the big red ball, it tells you there's lots of red balls in the room and I'd like the big one. If I say pick up the big red ball, it says there's lots of big balls in the room and I'd like the red one. This is especially important if we repeat a word, for instance, had. He had had enough and wasn't going to take it anymore. Or he had had enough lunch, but now he found himself to be hungry. Whenever the same note is repeated, it lacks melodic interest and therefore needs a variation of stress. The repeated B's in bars 1 and 2 are an example of this, and the strongest should be the one on the downbeat of bar 2. That's why it was put on the downbeat. This happens again with the C sharps in bars 3 and 4. So I'm going to stress into the downbeats of bars 2 and 4. This is a slow piece, so the fast notes in the piece should be played slowly to match the character. Trills, therefore, are rather slow. For shorter duration trills, I like to plan them out rhythmically for added cleanliness and clarity. Here are a few options. I might just do a quintuplet, 5 notes, including the grace notes at the end. I only really need 1 E to create a trill. Or I could do a septuplet, 7. For this, I'm going to use a short fingering for the E with just my first finger as I would an octave lower. Finally, there's more of a rhythm that will divide into 2 halves, and you may be more comfortable landing the trill on that D on the second half of that beat. The articulations marked in this etude are inconsistent and perhaps a bit sloppy. Indeed, the copy in Rubank is a good, valid copy of what Jeancourt gave us in 1845, but it still has these inconsistencies nonetheless. Bar 15 is a repeat of bar 7, but the articulations are different. Do we want to be consistent or follow the instructions? This is a difficult thing to answer. I never know whether I should just prove that I can follow instructions or I'm smart enough to make the corrections when necessary. I think we're perhaps safe going in either direction. Reading tenor clef may be uncomfortable for you. I frequently hear students at first complain if something is written in tenor clef, and then later on complain if it's not written in tenor clef. Here is a version where the entire etude is in bass clef. You may want to use this as a check to your tenor clef reading. I hope this video has been helpful to you in your preparations. If you have any questions or would like copies of these examples, please feel free to contact me. Thanks for watching. Here now is the Jeancourt etude on page 40, number 28.